and welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou for the Fire It Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you've ever wanted to get from here to there, whatever that looks like in your life, then do we have the Power of Bridging Gaps show for you. Today we'll talk about the law of attraction, invisible bridges, getting you where you want to go, and how to bring or welcome a new reality into your life. That plus we'll talk about abundance, finding one's voice, opening one's heart, focusing on successes, timing food, early packing, the power of tostadas, the danger of slideshows, the miracle of stretching, and what in the world the continued Goose Olympics has to do with anything. Gotcha. So welcome to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine. Woohoo! It's in honor of the geese. No. Is that a better goose imitation?
Oh, I don't know. I find them quite huggable in their squawks that they do around here.
Well, it's not that isn't what you don't want to hug me now. Okay.
That sounds like a goose combined with a cheese grater.
Well, I call it like I see it. Okay, what are the goose doing around you now?
So
what kind of Olympics?
When the geese first arrived, and so we had these last year, there was a family of 7 geese, there was another family of 5 geese, and it would be Mama and Papa, and then the little furry ones following behind Mama and Papa.
Sweet.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
And they went away for the fall, and they came back as almost full-size geese. They're still a little bit smaller than Mama and Papa.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got here and they landed, in fact, they announced their first arrival, this group of 7 coming in, and then a few days later, this group of 5 coming in, and we've seen others since then. They're all together staying in their own families. Well, once it started to warm up a little bit, there was some commingling of the families going on and some competition.
Chicka wow wow, like that kind of competition.
It's kind of like the movie Footloose going on outside here. and they've been coupling and forming their couples, and so we no longer see the 7 of them together, and you'll see
it's a goose orgy.
Not an orgy. I think they mate for life, but you'll see like
I see.
The new boyfriend goose protecting his girlfriend goose, and then he gets a little bit too crazy, and he may even yell at his girlfriend goose because he's just so protective at this point and trying to block off his territory. And you'll see geese chasing other geese and doing all sorts of like running on the water calisthenics and all sorts of wild stuff. And the kiddies are loving it, looking out the window and getting to watch all of these
wow.
chasing and diving and swooping and pecking, but without any harm actually done. But you get the pecking order sort of thing. And goose protecting territory and protecting their gals. And it's fun to watch. It's really, really cool.
So it's not really quite the Olympics. It seems more like it's like a rapid dating happening on the outside of your of your window.
Well, there is competition to get the girl.
Oh, I see.
You have to flap your wings, and I haven't looked online to see what the mating rituals is, but it looks like you're running on water, you're flapping your wings, you're puffing yourself up, and then the girl decides who she wants to give a 10 to.
I see.
So there is that competition going on. And then once they finish that competition, then they're off by themselves. But then another male may come along and want to edge his way in.
Oh,
and
wow.
so there's more competition. And so each morning we get to watch somewhere around 7 in the morning, all the geese doing their thing. Not that thing. We get to see them in their competition. And it's really fun. It's exciting. It's the Goose Olympics. Who knew?
Are you guys on your cats? I see your cats with their little signs like 9.5. 7.
They're like running around on the couches going trying to speak to the goose, and then just looking down beneath the window because it's one floor beneath us, and they make their chirps and their squawks. This is the cats, and as they're watching, and it's really exciting to them.
The fan base is engaged.
The cats.
Okay, so the other part I'm curious about is the bridging. What is the bridging that you're bridging? Invisible bridges? What is this?
So this was a topic that came up with an amazing guest we had back on the show yesterday, Derek Rydell. And we were talking with
I
him.
just had him on last week. That's so funny. He's great. I really like him.
He's awesome. And we were talking a little bit about bridging chasms and bridging gaps, meaning you see yourself in one place in life, and you want to be another. And you can't focus on that other as your God, or else you push it further away from you. But how do you raise your energy up enough to be able to cross this chasm? To cross, he used the term, I think it was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. If that's the one where there was no, I'm going to say it's Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail, where Indiana Jones has to walk out on this invisible bridge to get to the Holy Grail on the other side. And he has to raise his energy up and be in a place of faith that the bridge exists to take him from where he is to where he wants to be. And we all get to do that in life. We all have this vision of where we are going to, whether it's super clear, whether it's pretty fuzzy, but we feel called towards something more. And it doesn't mean that we can't be in the beingness and that we need to be doing, but we all feel, is it a better job? Is it more peace in our lives? Is it more abundance in our lives? Whatever it is, how do we bridge the gap between where we are now and where we get to go? And so that's kind of the theme here. And we're looking at that with our move to Aspen, with incredible growth that's gone on with the show right now, and looking at how we bridge our gaps as we go through growing challenges. It's something that every entrepreneur faces, is how do I bridge the gaps between, I know when I get to X, Y, or Z, it's not a disease in the more at this point. When I get to X, Y, or Z, I'm able to get to hire this staff or do this or do that other piece. But I'm here now. How do I get from there to here? And it's a way of raising your energy up. And that's what I talked with Derek about yesterday, of actually feeling that you are already there, that your existence already has it taken place. So I took my first bath in Aspen this morning. I am not only bringing in Aspen and the home in Aspen is calling to us, but I put myself in the energetic state of, I'm already taking a bath in Aspen. I'm looking out the windows. I'm looking over this golf course that I can see, because that's the plains that I visit, is a golf course, which in the winter is covered by snow for cross-country skiing. And I see the mountains behind it, and I'm looking out the window at it. And when I get to that energetic state of, well, Aspen's already here, I already feel 100% as if I'm already there. My energy has raised up enough to match what I want to bring into my life, and the bridge magically appears and fills in across that. If you're going, I need more employees to be able to do this, to be able to do that, to do the other, I don't know how to get there. If you act as if they're already there, or if you're looking for a partner in your life and you act as if you already have that partner, you feel the love, you feel the excitement for life, you feel that buzzing, that tingliness, that newness of it, then the gap magically fills in, because it's no longer something outside of yourself that you're looking for. Instead, it's something inwards that's already been fulfilled, and that helps draw it into you.
It helps make it move from the imaginal realm to physical realm and actually become the quantum. It's funny because I just talked. This is like the third time I've had this conversation this week. One with my husband, where we were talking and walking around the lake, and he was saying that there's this whole other dimensional realm, and this astral realm, of which our ideas and there's no imagination, there's no limits in time or space that happen there. And then I talked to this guy, Jim Self, about his book, The School of Mastery, or The Course in Alchemy. And he was talking about actually having things manifest, and how it's the thought manifests energy, and really it's the energy that's magnetic and that is pulling things towards you, and that's how you move. And then I was talking to someone John Selby, who was on the Physics of God, and he was talking about how these things manifest and come into become a material being after, we it happens first in our thought in this imaginal realm, and then it comes back into magnetizing itself, forming itself in the material realm. So it sounds like that is what you've been doing. And how long have you been doing it, and how would you describe your vibrational shift feeling, or how do you know it's shifting?
So, and I call it alchemy as well. And I like to say, as above, so below, because I
Right.
believe when you do this work, you're really doing the high level work up above, and then it manifests here. And
In
it
the
doesn't mean
physical
that
world,
it's
yeah.
not, it's still a two-step dance. You still have to make a choice, and you still have to a step forward. Because if you just do all the work up above and you go, oh, it's just going to totally come into me, and you don't take steps forward, I don't believe, and maybe that's a limiting factor. I get to watch my language as much as anyone else, but I don't believe that's how it works. It's a two-step dance. So we have been raising our energy up to match Aspen. We have been feeling it. We have been visualizing it. We have been writing about it. We have been seeing it with our sight, scent, sound, taste, touch, where we haven't been fully doing it until we spoke with Derek yesterday is living it. And
Mm,
so I feel that's a next, we'll call it quantum leap
hmm.
in this. It's such a beautiful piece that he brought to the table, and it resonates so perfectly. I'm like, well, of course. And I've done bike races this way. I've done other physical activities this way. Why aren't I living in Aspen now this minute?
Right.
And so I feel this is going to take things to a whole nother level of helping attract in. Even the word attract is interesting because he uses the term law of emergence, which means it's already there.
Right.
And it's so true. That partner you're looking for is already there. He or she has been there their entire lives, your entire life. It's just now bridging that gap and calling them in, but they're
Right.
already there.
Right.
The abundance you're looking for, as Jessica has pointed out to us, this giant, like, uh, water laden cloud that's just ready to pour down abundance for you is already there. You just have to reach up from earth to heaven to open it up and let the spigot pour down on you. It
Mm,
is already there. So
hmm.
we've been working on getting ourselves into this vibrational alignment
Hmm.
with Aspen so that we call in or help to emerge what is already there.
Hmm. Well, have you interviewed Jim Self? He has this whole book on increasing your vibration. It's quite good.
No, no, I will look into them
Yeah,
after
the
today
course
because
semester. Yeah.
I'm always calling it alchemy because it's to me, it's never the doingness.
Hmm.
And I am quite the doer. I'm a, use the term busy little beaver myself, but I take an hour to an hour and a half every single day doing my alchemy work, doing my automatic writing, calling it in conversation with the universe, in the imaginal realm, dreaming, drawing, writing it out. We've spoken about the Woohoo 8 before. I'm continuously refining what my future looks like, how that feels, what's the essence, the emotional frequency of what I want to call that in. And I do that each and every day. And I believe that is as powerful as picking up a phone, picking up a hammer, picking up any of those things and trying to build it, is instead building it up there. It does get to be matched with action here. I can't then skip the step of saying the phone will ring to me if I don't pick up and call someone. It's that
Right.
two-step
Yeah,
dance.
and I think actually anytime I've actually been doing journaling or the morning pages, I get specific messages like, go call
Yes.
this person. And it's like, why? And it's like, just call. I'm like, okay. So, so it's never just like sitting on your tail. It is a combination, I think, of the imagining, manifesting, praying, setting your five senses all oriented towards aligning towards one specific vision that you have. And then also opening up, knowing that it may not manifest exactly, like you said, it may be not Aspen, it will be maybe Breckenridge, near, it could be something very, very close in the Colorado region. Who knows what it's going to look like? And whatever it is going to be the place that was probably best for you, given all your goals. It's funny because, sorry.
Oh, you first, then go ahead, because I wanted to address something. You said the word specific vision, but we can double back in a second.
Well, yeah, so I was, interestingly, last week I talked to Derek about his book called The Abundance Project. And I thought, he has a 40-day model of like things that you should go through to manifest, an abundant life. And it's not necessarily like I want to, have like, $1 million drop on my head kind of thing. It's more
You'd
like,
be all right with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with it, but it's more like what do you define as abundant, and how do you reach that level? And so as a coach, you do this kind of work all the time. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that I did in the very beginning of my coaching program. And it's what I did in 2011. And I think 2011, and before that was 2007. I hadn't updated my goals and what I want in every single category of my life. What did I want? What does an abundant health look like? What does an abundant family look like? What does abundant work life look like? What is abundant spiritual life? So I went through and just used his model as a way to kind of kickstart the process. And so I've been doing kind of a similar type of thing. I mean, my goals probably look very different than yours, but they're still very, similar, kind of getting clear with what it is that you want. And I think actually also structuring our life around it and adding a little bit more discipline, so to speak, because I don't know if I have. For me, it's more kind of an organic, flowy thing, and his process, as I see it, I'm only on step 2. I don't know, but I'm going to do step 3 today. I assume has more kind of structure around it.
And I'm huge into structure and into routine, and I'm somebody who I could easily go and do a whole bunch of things without any structure and love that freedom to it. But I know if I'm going to, quote, achieve anything, if I'm going to write a book, if I'm going to run a show, then I need the micro habits in place so that I trip over success and don't have to worry about it or think about it. That's essential for me. I think it's essential actually for the majority of creative types, even though as a creative type, we tend to rail against structure. It's just sort of like that Zen koan. If you don't have time to meditate, then meditate twice as long.
Right.
If you don't believe you need structure, then you probably need twice as much.
Structure, right? Yeah, I think that's true. What were you going to say about the specific thing that you're trying to manifest?
Oh, specific vision. So 2 things. First off, just what you did, because we're in synchrony here. We're recording this a week before it airs, but it's 2 days after the start of spring.
Right.
And start of the spring means that we're 3 months in, which means it's a perfect time to revisit your goals for the year, to write down. I call it the Woohoo 8. It's abundance or wealth in 8 categories, just like what you're talking about here. And what in each category, how are you doing in your family category or your relationship category, your health category, your financial abundance category, your time wealth abundance category, and all these areas of your life, to take stock of where you're at, how far you've come, and what you want to see yourself accomplish, do, or at least aim toward for the rest of the year. Because spring is planting season. That's where you put something in the earth and it magically pops up.
Right.
It is the perfect time. Forget about starting things January 1. Yes, there's an energy to it, but you got goose energy now, baby. You got hormone raging with those goose outside the door, or the rutting elk, or the rutting frogs for that matter, the bullfrog. This is the time you put it out there and magic stuff happens. It's the time, man. Flowers are going to come up. You can't make a flower come up. They magically appear.
Yeah.
It's from an unworldly source. So this is the time where you plant those seeds for the rest of the year and see them come up. The piece that I want to add, going back to what you're saying, is specific vision. So I believe it's both important to have a goal, a very specific goal, as specific as you can over time. First, it starts as a feeling, a sense thing. I want freedom. I want independence. I want a sense of spaciousness. I want to spend a sense of loftiness, whatever that looks like to you behind your goal. First, you get the essence of it. Then you fill in as much detail as you can. Get as specific. So I'm saying, if I pulled back an arrow, I want it to go straight exactly into Aspen.
Right.
And that is my goal. However, I then allow myself or allow universe surrender to source, which may know a heck of a lot more than me, and say, or something better. But I want a very, very specific target so that I'm not giving mixed messages to the universe. Saying, here's what I want. I'm stepping forward into it so that my energy is not discordant. If I say, I'd like A or B, the universe goes, I don't know what to do with that.
Right.
It's not, there's no committal to this.
Right.
You know, if you want A, but we find B is better for you and you're open, you'll get B. But if you won't choose between the two, I don't know what to do with you because your frequency isn't in accord, isn't in alignment, isn't vibrating at the highest level because it's kind of wishy-washy. Well, this one might be all right, and this one might be all right. And your bridge is weak. Can you step off of that cliff? Grab your chute.
Yes, the invisible bridge is not quite sturdy because the parts of it are not necessarily knit over to reach the other side. It has two different sides that it wants to go to. It's unclear. I get
Haven't
it.
made that commitment. Yes.
So it's funny because this week I had an interview with my teacher, Swami K. Chartanatha, and and you'd think I know his name, except his like the name we call him is Nataji, so I'm not really familiar with this formal name. Anyways, the main point is it hasn't been since. It's been since January that I spoke to him. So it's been 2 months since the meditation retreat. And I think I saw you right after. It's like my heart was just like I was vibrating at just this kind of cosmic, I don't even know how to describe level. And, you know, it's interesting and hard, but, you know, over time, it's kind of like laps down and then there's like a little peak, but like it's kind of so I guess the chart would look like this. So, you know, January's at its peak and then it kind of laps down and then it went up and then it laps down. But the overall trend line is kind of going down because in that particular case, when I was doing Kundalini Sadhana, which is the practice he uses, he's basically like opening himself up and giving you broadband internet, like vibrational energy the whole time. And so your energy is just lifted in this place that is just like out of this world. And so it's just kind of like, you know, a little bit just kind of goes, and you can connect with him in your imagination, but still just talking to him. I was interviewing him. He wasn't doing a formal practice where he was tuning into his energy. And I don't know. I think actually when you get to the level that he's at, you're always doing that. It's like we were talking about love, but you're always doing that. But it was interesting just talking to him, and I could barely conduct the interview because I was talking to him, and then I was like a happy puppy. You know those little happy puppies?
Cool.
So I was talking to him in the interview, and my vibration, and I'm almost scared to look at the video because I think my face just kind of like, it just turned, it was kind of like, what? You know? I'd be like, where are we in the interview? Wait, what question are we on? You know, it's just amazing how my vibration was vibrating so high when I talked to him, because just seeing him instantly, just like my whole energy system would snap, and I just, and he had a transmission, an online open eye transmission. I've ever told you about this?
Sounds like gazing.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know what gazing is, but it's the idea that you're sending energy through your eyes. And so he is sending energy through his eyes and like receiving energy, tuning into the silence, completely being an empty vessel and just sending energy through his eyes, into your eyes. And through, as he said, he's sending energy from every orifice of his body. So I did that yesterday. So And it's interesting. I don't know whether it's had kind of the same lasting effect as kind of, a day and a day, but it's been interesting just to notice the difference of what it feels like when it feels like to be at this level or this level, and then to instantly pop up, or from
Mhm.
this level to this level. It hasn't been sustained, but I'm not like, let's say I started off at this, like at point 5, at 5
Yeah.
on of a scale of 10. I didn't go from a 10 down to a 5. I went down from a 10 to like a 7, notching down to 10 to 9, 9 to 8, 8 to 7 over the last month. And I don't know whether I'm and I'd say I'm at a 7 right now, whereas before I was at a 5. And I don't know whether I'm notched up to like 2 and 8, like, I notched up to a 10, and I don't know where I am right now. But it's interesting how um, vibration, it's a real energy, vibration, a feeling on the inside. It's a real palpable thing.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing thing.
And
So,
I like what you said about him staying in that place all the time, because it's something we can work toward,
hmm
which is, can I be continuously thinking about my energy? Can I be feeling inside my heart? Can I be repeating a mantra? Can I be reminding myself? Can I make each breath about love? And then, since we may not have reached that state of enlightenment, when I slip and fall, can I become aware of it and start to bring myself back to that place?
yeah, so here's the thing I would love to get your opinion on, because I'm not quite sure what I think, because the two of us have interviewed so many different people in the spiritual realm, and I talked to three different people, actually, the same message. And the message was that in yoga, the reason why you do all these flows and everything is you're trying to get the energy from, in your, from one place, relaxing, the tension in your body, and then allowing the energy to pool in your center channel. So you're basically trying to pool and have all of your energy move towards the center, so that you can be one in union with, the divine, your body below. You're just one through this energetic channel that runs along your chakra system. Okay, so that's the whole idea. So when I did a workout today, I was using the practice, which is breathing up through the back of my spine,
Mhm.
exhaling out and surrendering from the front. So I was imagining a big circle around as I was working out. So even though I was like doing, bench presses and all these different things, I just kept on each time thinking, well, this is not, how could this be any different than yoga? So I'm going to do a bench press. But as I'm doing the bench press, I'm like, I'm using energy, but I'm focusing my attention and awareness on the central channel. And so that was one thing from talking to this one guy about the physics of God, John Selby. Then the second person I talked to was this guy, Jim Self, and he was talking about this rose exercise where
Mhm.
basically, our aura goes around probably the distance of our arm's length all around our body, and that same kind of distance from our body. And so when we are encountering someone who is actually in vibrating at a different level that we put our hand up and imagine a rose boundary where we basically don't have our energy or attention go beyond that. So there are all these different forms saying essentially the same thing, focusing your energy on the inside, aligning everything on the inside, not allowing it to go out and disperse into, whatever the exterior world, and defocusing your energy, because that's one way of having your vibration raised, by containing it in
Yeah.
your core. Okay, so having said all that, the interesting thing is when I've interviewed people, there's this kind of a mutedness. It's not like a, hey, there's not like a warmth, and it's more of this distant kind of thing. And I'm not sure what to think of it. I don't know if I'm like, in the end, do I want that? If I feel, it's like there's not this sense of warmth or connection. It's just kind of, because if I'm in my core all the time and on this other boundary side, and I'm never going to meet you, Micheal, where we're talking, then I don't know. What do you think? I'm not sure what to think of it, but have you felt it too when you talk to some people who are really in that place? It's just like, They feel kind of like numbed out or something. I don't know. It doesn't feel good.
I never know what to make when a guest says, and this is without judgment, when a guest says, and I say, "What's your greatest woohoo?"
Yeah.
And they say, "I've come to a place where there is no woohoo. There are no
Right.
highs, there are no lows, there are no
Right.
good, there's no bad." And there's a part of me which is going, doesn't sound like much fun.
I don't want to get there. Feels like
So
you're on Zoloft. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like you used to have a range like this and now it's like this. You know, I don't
but
know.
I can't judge. I have my woohoo,
Yeah.
and I'll also have the other side because it's all energy and it's all the same coin. So yes, you could experience a very big high, you could experience a very big low, but if you leave judgment alone, it's just a beautiful ride.
Right.
But to buffer that out, I don't know. Because that's not a part of where I am or where I've been. I don't have a clue. For myself, it appears the farther down the road I get, the more woohooey I get. The more joyous exuberance, childlike, not childish,
Right.
joy that I have. And it doesn't mean that I'm maybe barfing my energy all over the place. But I don't know. I haven't
don't
walked
know.
a mile in their shoes.
I'm just here, so I'm not sure either. So I'm not sure if one of two things is happening is that when you go through this practice, you get so much in this like equanimous range, which is the whole goal, right? Not to be like, ah! Or kind of like, you're trying to get into this, whether, I'm having a hard time. I love myself. It's all good. It's all good. Everything's good, right? You're trying to get to that equanimous range. But so I don't know if it's that, like it's the practice itself.
To pause you there, why do we want to get in that range? Why not? We're here incarnate. Why not experience
I don't know.
exuberance of life?
That's a good question.
And okay, you're going to experience the opposite of exuberance because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's all energy. But if you can detach the label from it, that this is a horrible experience and you can see this is just life, not that it's fun at those times, but why not? Who's to say I want, instead of a roller coaster, please give me the flat path, please?
So it's interesting. So when I had this exact question during my class when I was in Hawaii, because it was about how we're trying to take this bullet train up our energy channel to like go all the way back and merge with God, which I'm up. I'm in it. I'm for it. I bought the ticket. I'm going to space. I'm fine. But then I was like, but here's what I don't understand. Like, why is it that we're not focusing on going down too? Because if in Shaivism or Shaivism, it's the idea of Shiva comes, God, whatever comes, and it manifests thousands of different versions of itself into all these individuated points of consciousness that come out as Micheal and CJ and this and a strawberry and like. Why not just love like eating strawberries and drinking water and drinking wine and the sun shining outside? I don't understand why it can't be this both, going up. And yes, I want to be one with God, but then I also want to like taste a strawberry and be an exquisite ecstasy after biting that, red juicy strawberry. Like, I don't know, maybe because I have that attitude, I will never get to this equanimous range. And I'm actually okay with that. I mean, I'm okay in some ways. If I had to neuter this and not experience life itself, I just don't understand the logic of why am I here on earth in a body if I'm not supposed to fully enjoy eating and watching a funny movie and skipping down and laughing hysterically. Like if I'm supposed to just be in this range, what is the purpose? Why didn't I just come in as a robot?
This is my naivete. So when I hear I want to be one with God, I feel we are one with God.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't be separate even if we tried. We may not remember it,
Right.
but we couldn't be separate. So to me, that whole striving, yes, I want to play with energy. Yes, I want to move energy. Yes, I want to experience all that I can. But at the same time, I'm okay incarnate. That's what I came here for this lifetime. Do I want to zip around on a magic carpet? Yes. Would I love to do some lucid dreaming? Absolutely. And teleportation or bending spoons. It all sounds really, really cool to me. But I also want to play with my speed skates and see what I can lift in the gym.
Right.
And have all of these experiences that make us uniquely human or uniquely animals here on this planet, because that's what we came here. When the idea that we came here so that we can try to leave here doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, actually, here's what I just realized. Okay, I think I answered the question through listening to your explanation. If all of us are on a different path in life, right? Like we all are individualized points of life. We each of us have like a certain vibrational frequency, energy, goals, life mission, hair color, whatever. Like, you know.
And you're right. We all come here for different reasons.
Yeah. So it could be that for some people, it is this. Like this is their goal. This is where they're going to go. And this is where they will go because that is their life mission. If they're supposed to vibrate, they're supposed to be the ones to keep the two of us calm down. Do you know what I mean?
If the whole world was woohooing like you or me, it would be quite the hilarious place.
No one would want to live place. Here. Yes, no one would want to live here. You know, so so then maybe it's our goal to do both, to go up and to go down, you know, to kind of experience the joy of doing both. Maybe that's that's our path and how we're uniquely oriented. Because I know just from sitting in that meditation retreat in January when I went to Hawaii with, 20, 30 students, I was skipping by myself singing because no one else wanted to skip with me and sing down the road. But, I was like, I'm still going to do it and I'm going to have fun, but it wasn't everyone else's path to go down that road, skipping and laughing hysterically at things.
I really like what you're saying because I think that brings it home. We are all here to express God, to express our authentic self in whatever that looks like to and for and through us.
Right.
So my woohoo nature is completely antithetical to somebody else's who needs, desires, and is here for some completely different purpose.
Right.
Doesn't mean one's right, one's wrong. It can be anything along the spectrum. I had a teacher on Maui a few years ago, and oh my God, this guy sits like mountain. His name is Claudio, and just being in his presence, you can't help. He's like the ultimate tugboat. Mm-hmm. You're like pulled out into the deep end, and it feels so awesome.
Yeah.
But he also says for himself, he still has preferences. He'd rather be, down by the beach with a nice surf going on than freezing cold in Canada.
Right.
And so he has his own take on it as well. So I think infinite universes, there's infinite room for all of them to coexist. But what's kind of cool to me is by going into a space where you're being with somebody who is in this place of equanimity, or this little, you make the symbol of like a little box.
Right.
What ends up happening with you is instead of you becoming a neutral, everything is place, you become a puppy.
Right. Well, that is true. Because what happened? There are a couple of guests that I've had.
Same effect on you.
Well, I don't
That's
know.
the way.
I'm not sure. All I know is that, have you ever been with a guest where you're like, for whatever reason, you're laughing, you're enjoying it, and they're kind of like this neutral range. Like, okay, I get it. All right, so I'll just laugh here on my own.
I'm trying to bust a move. When those guests happened, I am doing everything in my power here on the physical plane. And believe me, this duck is paddling like crazy up above on the upper side because I want to get that frequency going. I
Right.
want that deepest heart soul connection. And when I get that, even if I can just get my foot in the door for just a minute and get that heartfelt connection going, that to me is the world. And I know I have done my job because whatever we are resonating in with our guest, it's not about the words, it's about the energy, is what
Right.
the audience is going to feel.
Right.
And if our job is to help guide, to help teach, and to help raise the vibration up of our energy, or of the energy of our audience, that if we can sync in with our guest, it changes everything.
Yeah. So I think it's so not everyone likes this show, right? I mean, but the people
No,
who
it's
like the
not
show,
for everyone.
yeah, it's the kind of people who like that kind of woohoo, that kind of energy. Because if not, they would be listening to a show that was like this. Because I did this one, I've done these couple shows with people who are like this, and I'm kind of like, and people just send me all sorts of hate messages like, can't you just shut up and let that guy talk? Oh my God, you're crazy. What? Just shut up. I wish I would have shut up. So, so I see that, but it's because what they want is this. And I've given them my like crazy woohoo whatever in this interview. And so I literally, when I feel like that's the thing that needs to happen, I actually have to it's like, ratchet it down because it's not going to be helpful for anyone. That's what I've learned from doing those interviews. Because for people who are listening to that, that's what they want. They don't want the like crazy woohoo-ish thing. Anyways, where are we on this interview? The power of tostadas. How about that?
Jessica, Jessica has been making some amazing food. I think I told you we had this something basket, sun basket, where she's been getting meals in, and she
Oh,
gets.
yeah. So you like that?
It's
Thinking
really
about that.
it's helping her expand her creativity in the meals that she makes. And
Mm-hmm.
so she'll make something that they recommend and with the raw ingredients that they provide, and then she'll make her own version of it and make it several times based on that, and is learning more food combinations. So I'm calling it it's culinary school. It's culinary school in a box.
That's great.
And so it's been really, really fun to see what she came up with. And she did some sort of quinoa vegan or vegetarian tostada yesterday. That was
Mm.
absolutely amazing. Really exciting to see her with her food combinations and see what she's coming up with, and her start linking things back in together.
Mm.
And I really do. Maybe it's because I have a penchant for hot food, and so everything Mexican food that she makes, I am like, woohoo! To that. And you would think you could get great Mexican food anywhere in the country, but apparently in the deep south and places, it's difficult, and we can't find it around here. And so whenever she cracks out some tostadas or something, oh my God, I'm a kid in a candy store.
It's funny because my son is in Durham, North Carolina, and when he came home, he just ate a ton of Mexican food because you can't get as much good Mexican on the East Coast as West Coast, I think. So it's funny. I love how our lives are so parallel because so I've been working with my nutritional coach, or my coach, health coach, and she has been trying to train me on understanding, like, if there's a hunger scale from like 10, I'm about to throw up, I ate too much, to 0, that I'm starving. How we know when we're 3 or 4 on the hunger scale, and how we don't eat beyond, 6 or 7. And so I've been kind of exploring. I first started off eating notice every 3 hours when I'm hungry, and realizing that I usually get to a 0 to 1 and eat, not a 3 to 4. So I've been kind of noticing by looking every 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, oh, I have hunger signals way before I even recognize them. And then now I'm actually playing around with getting 6 or 7 on the fullness scale. And that involves like taking a bite of something, putting the fork down, chewing, 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 waiting 5 minutes, picking a fork up, and then doing it all over again, but eating super slowly, super consciously. And And when I've been doing that, I realized one of the ways that you can extend this like length of satiety and recognizing that you're actually enjoying the food is by just truly tasting all, tasting the basil and the
Yes.
quinoa and the strawberries and the creaminess of the yogurt. And if you take these long pauses and you eat consciously, you can actually do that. And so I haven't been necessarily experimenting with the actual cooking itself, although now I feel inspired by Jessica, of course, because she's just the inveterate experimenter with food and life. But I have been experimenting with just consciously eating, and it's been really fascinating because it's one area in my life that I realize I eat like I go to the gas station to fill the gas up so that I can get
Mm.
work done. I don't eat to go, oh my gosh, what does a Jerusalem artichoke taste like? Or what is this incredible vegetable here? What would it taste like? I just don't go there. I'm like, whatever, get the broccoli. That's good for you.
I think we
Next.
had Jerusalem artichokes in our meal just now.
Isn't it good?
Yes.
Jerusalem artichokes are really good. They're kind of like jicama. Is that what it's called? They're kind of like that kind of Did you have it raw or cooked?
It was in part of the salad, so I'm not sure if it was like a pickled thing or it
Yeah,
came in some sort of
it's
a
really
juice.
good.
Yeah.
It's really good. So anyway, so I've been doing the mindfulness eating part of it, and it's been so delightful to experiment around with that, and it's kind of changing. It's changing so that if I going back to what we were talking about before in abundance, I realized that one of my goals is to just as I'm getting older is to just really enjoy the simple things in life, like to drink coffee and say, wow, there are hints of cherry in here, and it's from this coffee is from Sudan, like trying to really appreciate every single little aspect of, food. And it's these simple pleasures that I think that we can, our life can feel abundant. It doesn't have to be money. It can be just enjoying the flavors of food, which is the first time in my 55 years of existence where I've even contemplated that food was more than just like something I had to do so I could move around. Sad.
It's funny when I was on my path through blood sugar challenges, which I had until I don't know 4 or 5 years ago. I viewed food the same way,
Hmm.
and in fact, you would think about what is it, breatharians? Why do I even need to eat? It's just a pain in the butt.
Right.
And now I eat really slowly, and I
Hmm.
take my time and I savor it. And if I don't get to it because I have an interview, that's all right. I want to appreciate the food. With that said, I have a hummingbird constitution.
Yeah.
I eat a lot, but I do it slowly and try to be as present with that food as I possibly can be and to
Right.
appreciate it. I can do better. I don't get that 20 some odd bites that we're supposed to get in there.
20
But
bites out of
yeah,
one thing?
it's supposed to be like, and maybe
What?
it's an Ayurvedic thing, 23 or 26 times that you're supposed to chew each bite, which aids with digestion and gets the microbes in the gut ready to digest that food.
23. Okay, I'm going to try that to see. I don't even think there'll be any food left in my mouth after 23 bites. Wow,
But it will aid
fascinating.
with digestion. So, but I am
Wow.
I am very present now with the food because I learned once I stopped having the blood sugar crashes, I learned the difference between having the shakes because my blood sugar is crashed and I need food, and what actual hunger is.
I know.
And
We
hunger is a
lose,
very
right?
different feeling.
We actually, what was so fascinating to me, and I love, love, love my health coach, is is pointing out that, if you actually really were attuned to your body and like reset it back to factory settings, like babies don't overeat. They're not like, I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to eat like a pint of Haagen-Dazs. Like there's no emotional eating. involved with babies, right? They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're full. And so what happens is that we lose our ability to gauge those different things. And so really the effort that I'm going through is to kind of reinitiate me or get back to factory settings where I actually, my body knows how much to eat and when to eat, and when I'm full. I just have overridden it so many times that it's like lost its ability to do that on its own.
One of the challenges, though, is getting away from a lot of the commercial foods that are out there.
Hmm.
For instance, I'm completely sugar-free,
Wow.
which butts up
Mm.
against an extreme desire for baked goods and brownies and other things. But I don't do it because I know, or at least this is we can call it a limiting belief. Sugar begets sugar. The more sugar that you eat, the hungrier you get for sugar, the less
Mm.
satiated you get. Commercial food begets more commercial food. The more something that you eat that is calorically dense, it tripwires something in your system that says, we need as much of this as we can get our hands on for survival. So if the thing is packed with calories, you take in more. The more you eat, the hungrier you get until it hurts. And then obviously MSG and quote unquote natural flavors, which are chemical flavors with the word natural to it, end up stimulating. They're called, what is it, brain neurotoxins.
Mm.
They overstimulate brain cells to where they can literally die because they get too exotoxin, I think is maybe the excitotoxin. I apologize not getting the exact term. The brain cell actually gets overstimulated and can die from extreme
Wow,
stimulation.
that's fascinating. Did
And
not know
that's what
that.
MSG does. That's why you may get a headache after
Um,
having. But the trick is MSG is now in almost all commercial foods as a way to flavor the food. To the expression, you can't eat just one. It's been engineered that way. So it's really hard to reset the system if we're eating those foods that are designed to tripwire everything in us that says no matter how much you eat, you're going to get hungrier.
I wonder what ingredients I should be looking for on my nutritional lists or the ingredient list to kind of stay away from those things because I
Whole
love like the
food,
flavors.
plant-based. So
I
you
know,
can't
but
you
there's
can't
like I
go
love the
wrong.
flavorings. Like I just have this onion dip that I dip my vegetables in, and I love it. I think it's dried onion. I don't think there's anything really awful about it, but what is MSG has to be labeled, right, as such?
No.
Oh, so that can be called anything.
It can be in natural flavors. It can be there's a word for it, it begins with an E, something yeast. It can be an hydrolyzed yeast, I think is another one. It can be in many, many
Oh,
different things
wow. I had
as a
no
way.
idea.
We had on a gentleman, a great guest on a book a few years ago called The Dorito Effect on
Oh.
how foods are engineered to make us want more.
Oh, I need to talk to that person so I can kind of get that's the person who would give me the skinny on this or the fat on
Yes.
this.
Or both, as the case may be, to keep you somewhere in between. And at the end of the day, because I have been one of those people who went neurotic on this. And even though I don't eat sugar, I'm really not neurotic about it. If Jessica puts sugar in something, it's not the end of the world. I probably won't eat much because I've had so little of it that I'll have a few bites and it won't feel right
Right.
anymore. But
Wow.
with that said, take a middle road. Don't obsess. Don't drive yourself crazy over it. If you stay open to all things, kind of a middle road, that's the healthiest path.
Right.
But do free yourself from the addictions that you're set up so that you keep eating and eating and eating and gorging yourself. Much better to understand, to be in your body and say, no, I really am hungry. I want some more. Or to say, wow, that was delicious. Right here is the perfect place to stop.
Yeah. Well, actually, and one of the things is that was delicious. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm not going to because once
Excellent.
you actually start feeling guilty about it, you start creating like the negative effects of stress, and you're actually making a situation that's not great actually worse.
You've
Which,
got you've got more organisms in you than are you. You
right,
are actually a multi-organism being. We can think we're just human, but we're human and all different bacterium and all different fungi and all different things inside on us. and about us. And your gut would love to be coming from a place of love while doing the digestion to pull out the best nutrients for us.
Right.
If you go to a place of fear, then it gets afraid. That's a gut reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we get an upset stomach. That's where we get heartburn. That's where we get all of these things. That's where we get constipation because we can't move through the emotions. We have emotional digestion. It's why you really don't want to eat when you're upset, because then you get the worst of both worlds. You make poor eating choices, and then your gut doesn't stand a chance of doing a good job digesting that food because it's feeling the emotions that you are and isn't able to do the job as well.
Interesting. I've never heard that. That's brilliant. All right, we've traversed the world in this conversation from abundance to gut biomes to so what else do we have to cover? So we actually have the danger slideshows, the miracle of stretching, finding my voice, focusing on successes.
Stretching real briefly.
Okay.
Has been because my knee started to get sore as I was really starting to pick up the pace with things a few weeks ago. And what I just kept hearing in my automatic writing is the answer's on the inside, the answer's on the inside. And what that really meant is that I needed to balance the doingness of lifting, the doingness of skating, the doingness of riding my bike or running with the beingness of the stretch, with the beingness of being with that muscle and allowing it to relax or elongate. And so my left knee was there's a spiritual significance to everything that happens with our bodies. And so my left knee was starting to get sore. And then a switch flipped in me, I think 2 weekends ago. And I said, that's it. We've hit a temporary limit again, which you've hit before in trying to get to that next level. You know what the answer is. And I started actually, it was 3 weekends ago, I started having stretching weekends and then extending that throughout the week. And now it feels so much better, so much better by taking the time to, in essence, go on the inside. It's the same thing as doing a meditation. But when you're doing yoga, when you're doing stretching, you're doing a meditation for your body.
Right, the fascia, all these other things that are outside, below the skin that none of us, bones, muscles, fascia, that you're kind of doing that. Okay, so I have my last, since you did stretching, I'll do one related to stretching too. Yeah. I found a Feldenkrais person has been working on my gait to just, because my ankles are kind of wobbly, so they're wobbly, so my feet kind of turn out like this because my ankles aren't strong. I don't put my weight in my center toe. Anyhow, the other thing that's happening is it has an effect on my shoulders and the rotation of my neck. And she showed me this thing to give yourself a self massage where you take like the skin, if you go around underneath your chin, there's kind of fleshy skin, and you go and you kind of like grab it with clean hands, grab it, and you kind of like give it a massage, which means like rubbing in a little circular pattern or massaging it like rolling it, and you go all the way up to your ear. Do you see that there's actually the fleshy part kind of extends all the way up to your ear, and you give yourself a massage, you come down, you do this on your face, and I swear, if you do this before you go to sleep at night, you will just go down. I think because we're both in a profession where we're talking a lot, we're yibber yabber our jaws, and who knows what else. And a lot of us hold tension in our face, and just releasing the fascia in our face, which I didn't even think. Of course, there is fascia in our face, but just doing that was like so utterly relaxing, and supposedly good for ladies out there who want to stimulate collagen in their skin. So that's my little tip.
I have something completely different but similar that I do each morning.
Yeah.
Which is I take a little bit of oil and I start from under my eyes and I work my way up in circular fashion.
Like this?
Yeah.
Or like you're going in circles like this?
I'm going actually in circles from the center of the eye, out and up, along to where your crow's feet are, and up, and then over the eyebrow and up. And basically, And while I'm doing this, I'm actually saying, I love myself. I love myself. And so
Oh,
I'll do a facial massage and then I'll press on the sides going up. I love myself. I love myself. And
wow.
it's kind of like a surgery-less facelift of pointing that collagen upwards at the same time with a little bit of oil and telling myself I love myself. And I get done and it's just like this. I've just babied and pampered myself and I feel so good about myself. And so
I love
right
it.
after I shave every morning, I'm doing a little I love myself
I
routine.
love that. Oh, what kind of oil do you put on your face?
I've been using the oil that I'm not supposed to. I'm out of sesame oil, so I've been going with coconut oil. And for me, as a Vata, Ayurvedic term for body type, that's a windy type, it exaggerates Vata. It's a cooling. So I want to get
Mm.
back to sesame oil, which is a warming oil, and I know that's what
Mm.
my body wants. For me, I'm not a what's the word for it? A tenacious shopper. I'll get onto Amazon or something, and if I haven't picked out an oil in 10 seconds, then I'll say I'll come back to it, and I won't come back to it. I'm just like, there are more important things that you need to do than shop. Use the coconut oil.
So we need to ship you some some sesame oil.
Some sesame oil, and I have here an empty bottle of RNA, and I love this stuff. And I have yet,
Yeah,
it's on
that's
my desk.
Carolyn Mays, right?
Not sure which one this is, but yes, she does I believe work with this as well. And I'm going, I have it on my desk because it's like a top level priority, but I just don't take the time to shop. It's great for the bank account
Right.
because I'll say I want this, I want that, I want the other thing, but then priority is, or I can be working more on researching a book, or I can be doing something else for
Right.
a coaching client, or to heck with that. And then Jessica's like, I'll say, Jessica, I still haven't gotten any RNA. And she'll be like, what are you looking at me for? Leave the order. Priorities. Just beautiful priorities. So I'll challenge
Uh,
myself between now and next week to get some sesame oil and some
okay, I'm gonna
RNA.
ask you about that. I'm gonna put it in my note. I will remind you.
And I will say that I raised my energy level up to the level where I'm already taking the RNA, where I'm already taking the sesame oil.
Yes,
So I've created that bridge so that it will
I'm
magically
converting
appear
coconut
for
oil
me,
to sesame oil.
but I will still need to step forward onto that bridge.
Woo!
Right there. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
saying, be well, have fun, get your energy up to the level where you already have exactly what you want in your life and attract it then in, help it to emerge because it's already there. And shine bright.
Woohoo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support, love, and blessings.